The storm arrived faster than anyone expected. One moment the sea was calm, the next the horizon turned black like ink spilling across the sky. By the time the first thunder hit, the lighthouse was already sealed in wind and rain. I was the only one there. Night shift. 3 hours until sunrise. 3 hours until the ferry came back. The old lighthouse sat alone on a cliff, miles from the nearest town. Normally it was peaceful. Just waves and wind. But that night the storm felt alive. The rain slammed into the glass dome above the lantern. The beam cut through the darkness every 10 seconds. White light across black water. Again. 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 At 11:32 p.m. the radio crackled. I thought it was the storm interfering with the signal. Until I heard the voice. "Hello, is someone there?" It was faint. Distorted. Male. Sounded young. "Lighthouse station, do you copy?" I grabbed the radio instantly. "This is the lighthouse." "Who is this?" Static. Then breathing. Heavy. Panicked. "We're sinking." My heart dropped. "Where are you?" The storm roared outside, rattling the entire structure. "Boat, small boat, engine died." His voice cracked. "We can see your light." I rushed to the observation window. The beam swept across the water again. Nothing. Just violent waves. "Stay calm," I said into the radio. "Tell me your coordinates." The signal crackled. "We don't know." The voice sounded younger now. Barely more than a teenager. "There's 4 of us." Another crash of thunder. The lighthouse shook. "Can you see the cliff?" I asked. "Just the light," he said. "We're drifting." My stomach tightened. That storm could flip a small boat in seconds. "Stay on the radio," I told him. Another wave slammed the rocks below. The lighthouse groaned like it was alive. Then another voice came through the radio. Quieter. Older. "Don't talk to it." The line filled with static. "What?" I asked. The first voice returned. "You hear that?" "Yes," I said slowly. "Who else is with you?" Silence. Then the younger voice whispered. "That wasn't one of us." Cold spread down my spine. "Check again," I said. "I did," he replied. Wind howled through the lighthouse windows. The beam swept across the sea again. This time, I saw something. A small boat. Far out. Rising and falling violently between waves. My chest tightened. "Stay where you are," I told them. "I see you." The relief in his voice was immediate. "Oh, thank God." Then the radio crackled again. The second voice returned. "Clearer now. Closer. Turn off the light." My blood ran cold. "That's not funny," I said into the radio. The younger voice screamed suddenly. "Who's on the boat?" Chaos exploded over the radio. Shouting. Water splashing. Then the boy's voice again. "There's someone in the water." My stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" "He's climbing onto the boat." The beam swept across the waves again. The boat appeared in the light. 4 people inside. Then 5. A dark shape pulling itself over the side. Too thin. Too long. The radio filled with screaming. Then silence. Just static. I grabbed the binoculars with shaking hands. The beam swept again. The boat was empty. Completely empty. No one inside. No one in the water. Just drifting. My radio buzzed again. Same voice. Calm. Patient. You saw it now. My throat felt dry. Who is this? Static. Then the whisper returned. Turn off the light. The lighthouse beam swept across the ocean again. The empty boat spun slowly in the waves. And behind it, farther out in the storm, I saw dozens of shapes in the water. Heads. Floating. Watching the light. The beam swept across the ocean again. The shapes were still there. At first I tried to convince myself they were waves. Floating debris. Something the storm had dragged to the surface. But waves don't stay still. These did. Dozens of dark shapes bobbed in the water, just beyond the reach of the lighthouse beam. Watching. My hands tightened around the binoculars. Another flash of lightning split the sky. For a second the ocean turned white. And I saw them clearly. Heads. Human heads. Too many. Far too many. Floating between the waves like buoys. Facing the lighthouse. My radio crackled again. Now you understand. The voice sounded calm. Almost relieved. What are you? I asked quietly. The storm roared louder, rattling the glass above me. The beam rotated again. 10 seconds. White light sweeping the ocean. Each time it passed over the water the heads shifted slightly closer. Drifting. But always facing the tower. You called us, the voice said. I didn't call anyone. Static hissed. Then a soft chuckle. You turned the light on. My stomach tightened. That's the job of a lighthouse. Not this one. The beam swept again. The empty boat was gone. Completely gone. The water where it had been was empty. Just waves now. Except for the heads. Closer. Much closer. Another lightning strike illuminated the horizon. For a brief moment I saw something else. Bodies. Attached to the heads. Long. Unnaturally thin. Their limbs moved slowly under the water. Like swimmers who had been there for a very long time. You guide ships, the voice whispered. But ships are not the only things that follow light. My chest felt tight. How many of you are there? Silence. Then. All of us. The beam swept again. The heads had doubled. They were everywhere now. Hundreds of them. The lighthouse light moved across them like a spotlight over a crowd. Every face tilted upward. Every eye reflecting the beam. Another message came through the radio. Turn it off. I looked up at the lantern above me. The rotating mechanism hummed steadily. Without it, ships could crash against the cliffs. Without it, the entire coastline would go dark. You'll hit the rocks, I said. We already have. The radio filled with a low wet sound. Not waves. Breathing. My skin prickled. You pulled those people from the boat, I said slowly. Yes. Why? The answer came instantly. Because they saw us. The beam swept again. Now the shapes were right below the cliff. Just beyond the rocks. Hundreds of pale faces rising and falling with the waves. Watching. Waiting. The voice returned. Turn it off. The lighthouse trembled as another massive wave slammed into the rocks below. If the light stayed on, more boats might come. More people might see them. If the light went dark, the coast would become a graveyard. Ships crashing into the cliffs. People thrown into the water. Into the waiting crowd below. The radio whispered again. You only have to choose once. I looked through the glass again. The ocean had become a field of faces. All of them staring upward. all of them reflecting the rotating beam. The light passed over them again. And this time, every single one of them smiled.